The following is a presentation of the IH Sports Network.
High school football is on the air. The Oneida Indians, the Scott Highlanders, with Tim Smith, Rick Keaton, and their entire broadcast teams. This is Tennessee's most complete high school football coverage.
Sponsored by Twin K, South Fork Physical Therapy, First National Bank, El Rey, Lumber King, Ray's Axe, Danny's Drugs, T&T Car Wash, Tommy's Motorsports, and Mountain People's Health Councils. Produced by the IH Sports Network, Friday Night Football begins now.
Good Monday evening, everyone. Welcome to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network. Alongside the voice of the Indians, Tim Smith, the voice of the Highlanders, Rick Keaton. I'm Ben Garrett. Thank you for joining us as we kick off round 3 of our Monday night show. We got a lot to get to tonight. We're going to talk soccer. We're going to talk to our players of the game. We're going to talk to our linemen of the game. We're going to talk to our scholar athletes. But guys, first, as always, we'll start off by taking a look back at what happened on Friday night. Both Scott and Oneida on the road to open the season. 2 games that really were mirror opposites of one another in the way that they started. And I'm going to swing over here and talk to you first, Tim. For Oneida, it was a great start on Friday. The Indians score from 48 yards out on play 2 that really kind of set the tone in that game. I know Rockwood responded and tied things up, and Oneida wouldn't score again for a while, but it just felt like coming into that game, Rockwood was feeling really good about themselves after what happened the year before and the way they played in the second half. But Oneida came out and punched them in the mouth early.
Yeah, I think for our part, 4 years of the same quarterback and you know what to expect, and then you get into this one and there's going to be 2 quarterbacks playing, and you just don't know how that's going to shake out. It's not been live fire, the real thing for either one of those guys to that point, and they just wind up going 11 of 11 through the air and 3 touchdowns, and executed well, didn't have delay of game penalties, didn't have errors of turning the football over through the air, made good decisions. I mean, I think it was everything that Coach May was hoping for in his quarterback duo for this one. And I don't think you can always expect that. But when you do it at Rockwood in the first game, I think it's big. And I think it's very important against Rockwood that you get that early lead like the Indians did in that first possession. If you start trying to play from behind Rockwood, that's the worst place to be in the world, because Coach John Webb does a great job of just grinding it out. They want to run. They want to take clock down. That's their purpose. And by getting those leads, the 7-0 lead and then a 14-7 lead, 21-28-7 lead, it takes Rockwood out of what they really want to do, which is pound that football, misdirection. And they had to put the game in the hands of a freshman quarterback who didn't play bad. Eminette, he didn't complete a lot of passes, but he didn't make mistakes either. He didn't throw interceptions. So, we've seen him perform very well at the middle school level a couple of years ago, or actually last year. And he's the only quarterback listed on that roster. There's no plan B for Rockwood. At least they don't expose out there who it's going to be if he gets hurt or something like that. So the game was in his hands, and it just seemed like they didn't take a lot of chances with the young quarterback, didn't push the field too much. And so that played to the Indians' advantage as well. So anytime you go into Rockwood and get a win, that can be kind of unexpected. You shouldn't expect that, but you should be proud of it if you walk out of there with a W, and that's what the Indians did.
Should mention, I forgot to mention this at the top, this first segment is sponsored tonight and every night on the Roundtable by Little's Drugs and Fountain. They're located on Highway 63, right north of the intersection next to the new medical clinic there, which is called Biggs Medical Center. And so stop in and see them. If you don't need medicine, you can also get lunch at Little's every day. You can also get a milkshake, cool off. And so stop by Little's Drugs and Fountain if you get a chance. We appreciate them sponsoring this first segment. Tim, we thought that Oneida's defense would be solid, and they were against Rockwood. Very, very impressive, I thought, performance by the Indians on the defensive side of the football.
They were. I think before the game, the concern was a secondary that was young and had not played a lot together and at those positions. Tanner Buttram was a senior and had played corner. Other than that, you had Levi James, who was used to being a corner, got moved to safety. And then you had William and Waylon Hill, participating there in the secondary, and those sophomores were just outstanding. They had a nose for the football all night. Levi was able to watch the game develop in front of him, and he made great decisions. And that perceived potential weakness wasn't weak at all. Now, Rockwood again wasn't airing it out. They weren't a really what I would say a threatening offense like what they're going to see this week. You know, they're going to Coalfield this week, and Coalfield will be throwing the ball all over the place, over the middle, down the field. So the task is going to be different week to week. So we'll see how that works out for the secondary in this Coalfield game this week.
Yeah, good stuff for this week for sure. Rick, Scott High game in Crossville on Friday night, just the opposite start. Oneida got the touchdown on play 2 for Scott High. They came out and got a 15-yard penalty on play 1, fumbled it away on play 2. Cumberland County scores a touchdown on play 3, and it just felt like that Scott could never get any kind of momentum established after that.
That's very true, Ben. As a matter of fact, there was another, if not 2 more opportunities sort of like that, that helped Cumberland County the other night. A lot of expectations this year, maybe too high expectations. New coach, trying to get more players. They took 54 or 56 on the bus, 2 buses, as a matter of fact, down to Cumberland County the other night. And we expected a lot of things. One of the things we thought, clean up the penalties. We had bunches of those last year. Try to find some positive plays. Try to get things to happen, get more people involved in the offense. But when, just a few seconds have gone by, you're down by 7, you get another possession, you're having trouble. Not so much in the snap. The snap was, I thought, pretty much real good for the Highlanders the other night. We had trouble concentrating, holding on to the ball, the snap into the shotgun. And if you drop it, if you fumble it, if you do whatever, it messes up the timing. Couldn't get the timing right. So the turnovers were really big. Like we fumbled the ball 7 times. Lost 3 of those. One of those came after we picked up a fumble and had a chance to just go on to into the end zone and score. I don't know how that would have affected things very much, but it was knocked away by Cumberland County. We lost possession when the ball went through the back of the end zone, and Cumberland County got it again. There were just so many things that you can flag here, you can flag there, and say, hey, if this had happened, if that had happened, maybe, just maybe we'd have done much better. But you take away the fumbles, I think 2 of them anyway, where we fumble, next play, Cumberland County, they score a touchdown on the very first play. So you add 14 points to our eventual 14 points that we ended up with in the game. And, it could have been a closer game, but you got to have luck. You can't shoot yourself in the foot. You have to go out and make plays. And it's a relatively young Scott High team. Offensively, we had just 2 seniors start the other night. Defense, I think 5 seniors started on that. But doesn't mean that they had a whole lot of experience coming back. But we're a real junior-laden team. And mix in a couple of sophomores out there like that, we can grow. And that's what Coach Hall has to, I think, work on this week and next week and the following week. Growth, correct the mistakes. Don't be too hyped when you get down there. And he says it at the end of practice about every day. Go out and do your job. Don't worry about this guy or that guy. Go out and do your job. And we saw some players the other night that did their job in the Highlander play. I'll call out, I really like Michael Bowes, the way he played defensively. And we said a whole lot about Mason Akers the other night. So, we've got other playmakers there. It's bringing it all together through the course of 4 quarters.
Yeah, and to your point, and I don't want to take anything away from Cumberland County. Cumberland County impressed me. They're a lot better this year than they were last year.
Yes.
And I think they were the better team on Friday night. But some of those really crucial mistakes, you take those away, it's a close ball game. And a lot of positives to take away, I thought. From obviously not enough positives, but there were positives that you could build on from Friday night.
Well, another thing we want to talk about. Here's the Highlander starting field position. Our 22, our 19, our 23, our 20, 20, 20, our on 8-yard line, I think that was after a penalty, then the 20 and the 20. Here's the starting field position for Cumberland County. Their first drive was at their own 20-yard line. Then they start at our 14-yard line after recovering a fumble, our 37-yard line, at our 5-yard line to continue that drive, at our 47-yard line. Hey, look, finally back on their 30-yard line. And then that was just in the second half. In the first half, it was our 11-yard line, their 42, their 35, our 47, and our 39-yard line. Everybody knows that field position means a whole lot, and the chances that you can score if you're starting midfield on the plus side of the field, there like that, it goes from a 50% chance to an 80 or 90% chance that you can score. Field position is so dominant.
One thing, Justin Nivens is and I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Justin Nivens, athletic director at Cumberland County. He talked to us after the game. He was really impressed with the way that he said, listen, Sky High didn't quit. And he said, that's what I look for in a game like this where the score gets a little bit lopsided. Did that team quit? And they didn't quit. They didn't. And several people have mentioned that since that game Friday night. There was no quitting that team, and it paid off, I think, in the fourth quarter. They get a couple of scores on the board, a little something to hang their hat on as they get ready to go to Eagleton this week.
Exactly.
All right, we're going to take a step away from football when we come back after the break for our second segment, and we're going to flip over to soccer. We're going to talk on Sky High Soccer first with Coach Eric Henry and Bella Sharp, and then after that we'll talk Oneida Soccer. It continues on the Roundtable right after this. Welcome back to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network. We are live from the C. Michael Lay Technology Center in Ellenwood alongside Tim Smith, Rick Keaton. I'm Ben Garrett, and we're joined now by Scott High head soccer coach Eric Henry and Scott High senior goalkeeper Bella Sharp. And, guys, thank you first of all for joining us. And I'm going to start, since Eric's on his phone, I'm going to start with you, Bella. You guys have gotten out to a strong start this season, 2-0. Big district win on Thursday night. Is it what you expected at this point?
Well, I knew we can do it, but the game Thursday was honestly quite scary for me. Like, there was stuff I could have done to prevent it from being a shootout, but...
So I want to ask you about that, and then I'll just let these guys chip in wherever they want to. But so I don't know if you grew up dreaming about being a goalie. I got a feeling most people don't that end up in that position. But here you are. And I think most people, if you talk about a shootout situation, your childhood dream is taking that shot to win the game. You're in the opposite situation. You've got to block the shot and save the shot to win the game. You did that Friday night. But what I want to know, it's got to feel like in that situation, you're out there on an island by yourself, does it not? Any shootout, any penalty kick situation, but especially when it's in a shootout like that. What is that like to be out there and it's just you versus the shooter from the other team one-on-one?
Well, I already have a downside because I'm shorter than most, so that's not fun. And I was really dreading it because there had already been a PK taken on me before in the game, and I had missed it, so I was stressing out. And Henry said he wouldn't tell anybody, but I did cry before we went out there.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's that you can't feel good as a coach when you're getting ready to go into the shootout and your keeper's crying, can you?
Well, I told her she could either be the hero or the GOAT. And I said a lot of people think that. And the shooters only have to step up one time. Bella, the keeper's got to step up 5 times. So there's a lot of pressure on her. I saw Matt her dad up in the bleachers in between the end of regulation and then that. And he's looking at me and he's like, why are you doing this to my daughter? And then after it was over with, I looked at him and he's like, okay.
It's not the only parent who's thrown up your hands at you like that over 35 years of coaching, is it?
That's the only one I was looking at. So.
But to her credit, she put the nerves aside and was the hero in that game, and Scott High gets the 5-4 win in a big district game.
Yeah, she the first girl from UC missed, and then I think Riley hit hers, and then Bella makes a couple of saves. They hit one, and Brittany makes hers, and then Bella makes the last save on their fifth shot because they got to shoot second. So it was down to the wire's last shot. So yeah, Bella made 3 big saves.
And Bella, you guys lost to Union County last year in the district tournament on your field, and that ended your season. So that was a little bit of a revenge win. You guys probably didn't approach it that way, but it was. But a big district win, and so where does that position you now as you get ready for teams like Anderson County and other teams in your district moving forward? You guys feel like you're in a position to challenge for district championship this year?
I think so, yeah, if we all just stay positive. Because, like, in past years, some of the seniors have just given up when they started losing, and I get that. But the seniors this year are ready to work really hard, and if somebody else is giving up on the field, they'll motivate them. So.
Tell us about your team, Eric. You did lose a couple of seniors from last year, but you got a good nucleus of both experience this year and then some younger players too that are sliding into roles. But I feel like when I look at your roster, you're a pretty experienced team overall.
Yeah, we lost three. Lost Rachel and Ellie and Cooper from last year. Cooper's defender. Rachel played just about anywhere, and Ellie was up front. And both Rachel and Ellie scored a lot of goals for us. But I've got 8 seniors on this year's squad, which is a chunk. And most of them have been there. We have one transferred in, Brianna. She's making up the A spot there. But Autumn Brummett and Brittany, both basketball girls. Brittany played sophomore year, didn't play last year, then she's back this year. And obviously they've both, Brummett scored 2 in the first game. Brittany had a hat trick in the second game. So they're obviously bringing a lot to the table for us. Got Riley Lance in the back with Kinley Frog. Keep a lot of pressure off of Bella. And I'm sure Bella appreciates those guys. Riley was a little bit banged up going into Thursday's game, and she's nursing it and taking care of it and everything. But Kinley helps take up the slack there, and Kyla Marlowe played really well in the back, and then Haley Butler as well. And then other seniors helped me out besides Bella. Bella's a senior. Obviously, she's been between the posts for pretty much the entire time she's been at Scott High. As a freshman, she had to step in. I think we were at Kingston, and it's been her job ever since to lose. And barring the injury that she had last year, she's been stellar. Recovered, recuperated, got back on it. Her leg's just a little bit skinnier if you look at her on one side, where she's got lost a little bit of muscle tone. It bothers her, but she did really well. Alyssa Crabtree plays either on the wing or up front for us. And I got Emily Flady back this year. She's a junior. She helps in the middle, and then Abby Henson's another senior that plays in the middle or up front for us.
So I asked Bella this question. What about you from a head coach's perspective? Where do you think your team stands this year as you get into the thick of things in district play?
Well, 2-0 going in, and that's good because we try to win, one game at a time. And we had a game last week and one game this week. One game prior to that because we only have tomorrow against Lenore City at home at 6:30. And then next week we go to AC on Tuesday right after having Monday off from school and everything. So we'll try to get out and practice Monday morning, get ready for Anderson County. I'm not 100% sure of who graduated there or transferred in or out or anything like that, but that's always a good match with Anderson County. And then we also have Oliver Springs on Thursday. So that was a team that beat us 2-1 at our place last year. So just, try to win one game at a time and move forward and learn. And even though, Bella and Riley and Kinley and Henson and Alyssa and even Flady and Brittany, all those guys have had a lot of minutes. But it's different when you're the senior. And this bunch takes it pretty serious. And that's good. But it's early. It's like Bella said, it's August right now. And sometimes as the season wanes on, a little bit of interest gets lost and everything. But as long as Alyssa keeps focused, I think everybody else will fall in line.
So what you're saying is if they get out of line, Alyssa's going to whoop them back into line. Yeah, I'd be afraid of her too. I'm not her teammate. So Bella, as a keeper, you kind of got the responsibility a lot of times of communicating with your team and making sure everybody's on the same page. Do you do that? I mean, are you the vocal leader in the back?
I try to be, but I've heard from most people that they don't hear me because when they're on the field, they just kind of block it all out. But I am yelling if they're in the wrong spot, they move over. Or, like, there's somebody behind you, next to you, pass it. I try to communicate.
I want to say this. When it comes to soccer, I've watched it for 20 years. Don't really understand it. But the most exciting time in a soccer game is that shootout.
Well, no question.
I mean, I know it puts a lot of pressure on the keeper, but I just think it boils down to that 5 minutes or so there, and it's just the most exciting part of a soccer match.
Even if it makes the keeper cry.
Even if it makes the keeper cry.
How many times have you been in that situation? How many times has it come down to the penalty kicks since you've been goalie?
I think that's the first time.
Is that the first time?
Isn't it only your district games that you have to do that? The regular games, it would just end it in a tie, right?
Yes, that's true. Yeah, and and actually, TWSAA, you can, as a district, vote whether or not you want to end in a tie or have a tiebreaker. Some districts do, some don't. We're one that does.
I like the idea of this district having a tiebreaker.
Yeah, I like the idea of making all games have a tiebreaker. Ties are the most disappointing outcome in sports.
Well, you got to figure these girls played 80 minutes, and then in regular season there's 2 10-minute golden goals, so there's another 20 minutes if no one scores, and then you go to PKs. In postseason, it's a little bit different. You got 2 10s regardless, and then you go to golden goal. So that can end up being a lot of soccer, especially in August.
Right.
So I've wondered this when I've watched the penalty kicks, and I'm sure this is, I don't know if this is different or if there's a standard that people coach. But if I'm about to try to execute a penalty kick and you're standing in goal, what are you paying attention to? What are you watching for me to do?
Okay, so you're supposed to look at where they look at, because normally it's where they shoot. They'll like glance over and then look back at you, and it's where the body is angled. You can normally tell, but I get in there and I freak out, so I just kind of hope.
In other words, you hope you go the correct direction.
I always tell the keeper they're at a disadvantage in a penalty kick because you're 12 yards out, and if depending on who's there, whether they're good at placement, Hugo is always good at just kicking it really hard, and that's difficult to defend as well. So I always tell the keepers, I said, just guess one way. I mean, you get coin flip. So, but Bella did a really good job. She stretched and made a couple of really tough saves on the PKs.
Bella, it's been I don't want to say cool because it's August. It's never cool in August. But from a temperature perspective, the start of the season so far has been pretty nice.
Yeah.
It's going to change this week, starting tomorrow to be in the 90s tomorrow when you play. I don't know right offhand if you guys have got a game Thursday or not.
We do not know.
Okay, so you're fortunate. Thursday's going to be really hot. But so what do you do to get ready for tomorrow night against Lenore City, which is a tough team anyway?
I drink a lot of water. It may sound bad, but I don't eat when I go home because it makes me sick. And I normally wear long sleeves because I don't like hurt myself. But last time I did that, I had to take it off because it was too hot. So.
We Billy and I were talking the other day, and like my practice run 3:30 to 5:30 generally, but every 20 minutes we're taking a water break. So you're only getting about an hour and 15 minutes of actual practice time in because those are mandated, one, but two, it's just common sense. When it was hot as it was today, we took a break. We usually run a mile to warm up. We cut it down before a game. We run about 3/4 of a mile today, ran bleachers, water break before that, and after stretch, and then we talked a little bit about the game, and then we scrimmaged for a little bit. And then at the end of practice, I end a few minutes early and make them sit and drink before they put the stuff up, because when they're there, at least I know they're drinking water and they're drinking and not going home and not hydrating or drinking something that's not going to help.
I have said for a lot of years, in my opinion, girls soccer is the toughest sport. First of all, most people don't realize how much running there is in soccer. There's a ton of running, maybe more than any other sport. But on top of that, football, they're practicing right after school just like you guys are. But when it comes game time, football has the luxury of kicking off as the sun's going down. You guys are kicking off almost in the heat of the day still, about 6 o'clock. In my opinion, girls soccer is probably the toughest sport. So what do you say? What your message to football players? Can you back me up on that? Soccer is tougher than football. Come on, Bella.
Maybe. It might be. I get hit a lot.
Let's say this.
Yeah, Bella does get run into quite a bit.
At Scott High School, one of the luxuries that the football team has on the practice field is shade.
Yeah. And
very few schools that I've seen in East Tennessee, practice field has any shade at all on it.
Yeah.
So they're just, should I say wimps? Go ahead and call them they're a bunch of wimps. They practice in the shade.
I wouldn't say that makes you a wimp.
Okay.
Bella's boys sitting
She
over
knows
there.
she's going to have to
gonna say
answer
anything
for
yet.
it. Yeah. Okay, so one more question. We'll let you guys go. And this is for you, Coach Eric Henry. I've asked Bella a lot of times. Now, you guys are both from the south end, as am I. I grew up at Black Creek. You grew up down in Elgin. And Bella could throw a rock across the county line. She's way south. That is not a southern Scott County accent. Where did that come from?
I'm not sure. I don't know if she practices it.
I asked her last week. I said, Bella, where did you grow up? And she said, well, I've always lived.
Yeah.
And so
I got made fun of a lot. So, especially by my mom. She made fun of me a lot. So.
I think she watched a lot of iCarly growing up, maybe.
Maybe so. All right, guys. Bella, Coach Henry, good luck tomorrow night against a tough Lenore City team, and we look forward to seeing you guys have success as you get deeper into this district season, starting with Anderson County next week. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll flip to Oneida soccer as the roundtable continues. Welcome back to the roundtable on the IH Sports Network. We're a half hour in. We got a lot to go. I'm alongside Tim Smith and Rick Keaton. I'm Ben Garrett, by the way. And we're joined by Oneida soccer coach Dave Blevins now, and also Oneida senior Presley Queener. And first of all, Presley, let me say it's good to see you back on the soccer field this year. You took a year off, and now you're back. So other than I'm sure you missed the game, why are you back playing soccer this year?
Well, the biggest thing would be I just missed it so much, and I've always loved soccer. I've played forever. It's all I've ever known, so it's so crazy to not have played, but it feels really good to be back. And
you've made an immediate impact upon your return, which I don't think surprises anybody. How important was it to get an experienced senior back, and what was your reaction when she told you that she was going to play this year?
Oh, obviously, we were all ecstatic to see her come back. She's a very valuable asset to the team. She does her part. She's a good team player. She's good on the field as a solo and also as a good passer and looks for the open opportunities. We're really happy to have her back on the field. She's definitely helping us out.
So you guys came out this year, new coach, lost a ton of seniors from last year. I don't know what people expected out of you, but game one you go over to Sevier County, a team that beat you a year ago, big school, 3A school in soccer, and you didn't get the win, but you tied them. And again, they beat you guys, I think, 3-1 last year.
Yep.
So how big was that as a tone setter for your team in this season that's going to be ahead of you?
That was a really nice thing to have come out of that. We were thankful, obviously. The girls stepped up hard. We're still learning, and I'm kind of learning with the team as well. Yes, definitely a good boost in morale for our team. Glad to have it, and Sevier was very welcoming to us, and just really happy to see the girls playing well together on the field and doing their thing. Because that really, at the end of the day, they're the one doing all the work. I'll just get to be kind of the cheerleader on the side. So really happy for the ladies.
So, Presley, tell us about your role. Now you're back. This is your senior year. What is your role? Are you playing? I imagine you're going to play up front.
Yes, I'm kind of all over the place. I don't really know where I'm supposed to be at now. I've been in the center and I've been on the wing, and I definitely like the wing better, but yeah.
Okay. So, Dave, let me ask you this. One thing that you got, I talked about your seniors leaving from last year. You also got a lot of core experience back. The big thing for you, and I know this is not news to you, is depth. 19 players, which is not many in the game of soccer. That's not enough to have a full 11-on-11 scrimmage in practice. So, what are you doing to overcome that?
A whole lot of conditioning, trying to make sure that our girls are able to keep up for it's a longer period game for these girls. If you had a bench, I know there's a team that we're playing has somewhere around 42 on the roster. That's a deep bench. We don't have such a luxury, so our girls have to be ready to step up. They work hard during practice. We're careful, like what Coach Henry was talking about during days like this, but we still go out and practice. We give it our all. Rotation is important, making sure that we can bring in some players on the side to kind of relieve some when they get exhausted. But all in all, I think probably one of the best things we've seen happen is the ladies are very good about raising their hand saying, I need a break. Just taking that initiative, that's a very mature attitude of being able to say, yeah, I need just a quick breather, and trusting that we'll get them off the field, recover them, get them a replacement for a short time, and then recirculate back around. So I'm very happy with them at that maturity level.
Now let's break right here and ask this. Presley, you were here for the last segment. Your coach just mentioned that soccer is a very long game. Okay, you were here for the last segment. I could not get Bella Sharp to agree with me. Will you go on the record? There's a lot more football players in here than there were 15 minutes ago. Will you go on the record and say soccer is tougher than football?
Yes, soccer, it can be tougher than football. It just depends.
All right.
I mean, I agree. We don't have to wear as much gear as them, but I've been in some pretty aggressive games, and we don't have shoulder pads during that. We just get knocked around.
No pads, no helmet, right?
Yeah, right.
I have heard people say, well, soccer is not a contact sport. That's not quite accurate, is it?
No, that's not accurate at all.
So you've got 2 games under your belt. You played Sevier County, and then you came right back and played a tough Carnes team right after that. Then you lost the game last week. I think it was last week. York canceled on you.
Yes.
Presley, let me ask you first. How hard is that? You put all the practice in, you're amped up, you're ready to go, you play a couple of games, and then you have almost a 2-week layoff. How hard is it going to be to come back tomorrow night ready to go?
Well, I mean, first of all, I guess we'll just have to see because I don't really know. It's definitely going to put us at a disadvantage because we haven't had that game experience in a little bit, so we might kind of forget it, and especially since we're playing AC. I don't know how that's going to turn out, but I think it can go well.
How about it, Dave? That AC is always a tough one. You know, they're always a pretty good team. They're very well coached.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow night should be a good game, shouldn't it?
Oh, it should be a very challenging game. I'm looking forward to it. I expect the girls will play well, and I'm in agreement with Presley over here. We will have to take a minute to kind of get our feet straightened out on the field for a lack of having some competition at the match level for a while. But I think they'll come through it fine. They'll get resituated, they'll get themselves centered, and they'll be just fine.
So you guys, you had Carnes at home, but that game was played at Bear Creek because they're resodding the field or have resodded the field at Oneida Elementary School. So you guys have not been on your home field yet for a game, and you're not going to be on your home field. As I look at the schedule, help me out here. One of you guys help me out. When is your first home game? It's late, isn't it? Way up in September.
September 17th.
September 17th. The latter half of the season before you finally get on your home field. What's it going to be like to finally get a home game?
It's going to feel good because I've definitely missed our field. I'm not liking Bear Creek too well. I am so thankful that we have that as a resource. But they need to stop burning stuff because we cannot breathe because of the smoke.
Yeah, football players don't have to practice at Bear Creek.
Yeah, that's right.
Just throwing that out there.
Yes.
So how about it? Is it tough to go that far into the season without a home game? And what's your message to your folks? When you finally do get a home game, you need folks out there to support you.
Oh, absolutely. It is a challenge, but I don't want to take away from the fact that we've been heavily blessed and supported and having this sod down. The field needed a good makeover. So that's been a real big thing for us, and we're excited about it. It does create some obstacles to overcome, things not like having our PA system available to us, having lights not on the field location, that's a challenge. Sometimes even just supplying ice and water to the teams. We do have some hurdles to overcome. So what I'd like to say is please come support us while we do have home games at Bear Creek, but when we get back, we're going to have everything right back where it should be, have the sod nice and it's greening up so nice, and we'll have all our sponsorship signs up. We're going to have a PA system. Really looking forward to being back on that home field again. I think this is going to be a morale boost for our team when we hit it.
And you guys jump in here whenever you're ready. But let me ask you this, Presley.
Well, I was ready right there,
well,
but
just
go ahead.
hang on just a minute. I'm not ready for you. Presley, you guys, Oneida has won a lot of district championships in a row, and you were part of some of that. And then you ran into Cumberland Gap, and that was kind of a juggernaut there. And then just as they're graduating all that experience that they had for several years, you guys got rid of them. But then you pick up Kingston last year, and you still got Kingston this year. Where do you see this team, because you know your team better than anybody, where do you guys stand in the hunt for district championship this year?
Well, we have a lot to grow in, and definitely as we get game experience, we will grow more. I think if we can persevere and keep on trying hard, that we can definitely have a chance just as well as anybody else can.
Dave, you know Kingston well.
Oh yeah.
You know better than I do what they lost from last year and what they've got coming back. How does your team match up right now? And then you don't have to play them until the very end of the season, so that's good. And I guess first I should ask you, though, is it a two-way race between Oneida and Kingston?
I think it's very much a possibility. We definitely have some growing room to fill in, but I would assume that they would too. They've got to be getting their team situated. They're a very strong competitor. We've got a lot of good girls on the field, some good talent and competition. I'm looking forward to that match. That's going to be a great way to kind of cap off the initial season and looking at that district play. So it's going to be good. I like it.
Your turn, Tim.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Maybe.
So is this an inherited schedule? Did you put the schedule together?
I did not. I was actually fortunate enough that they handed the schedule to me, and I got to kind of check through and just do a double check. And honestly, most of the schedule was pretty well set in stone and really well set up. So yeah, I kind of inherited the schedule, but still thankful for the fact that going from a middle school coaching position to a high school position, a lot more was involved. So it would have been a burden for me to figure all that out so quickly. So yeah.
So do you like to schedule tougher or get some confidence games in there, or what's your philosophy on setting the schedule?
I don't really know. I'm still figuring some of this out. I do like the idea that we started out with some really tough competition. I like that. It gives us somewhere to grow to. But at the same time, I can understand a little more spacing out. I think there's advantage in whichever way you get it. It just depends on how you want to take the schedule and work with it and use it to your abilities. So I'm really just kind of thankful that I did not have to jump in that much extra on that level, and I was thankful for those that set it up. But, yeah, we're just going to meet our challenges and move forward.
Presley, looking down the schedule, is there a team you look at that schedule and you say, oh, I can't wait to do that one? Is there a certain team or a couple teams?
Obviously, I'm always very excited to play Scott High. Brings a bunch of people in. It's always a fun game. But other than that, I mean, I'm not really sure. I always enjoy playing different people because it's always different talent levels. There's different girls, and you just kind of get to just learn more about other teams. So, but there's not like a specific pinpointed team that I cannot wait to play.
I got you. So now, and you mentioned playing center, I believe, and playing wing, and
Yes.
and you like the wing better. Why do you like wing better?
Well, because I feel like whenever I'm on the wing, I can have a better shot angle, and I'm not having to like distribute the ball to everybody, and I'm not having to run like the whole field.
Yep.
And it's a lot less pressure, and I feel like I can just run the side better.
Why do you feel like a coach would want you at the center, though?
I honestly have no clue.
I bet a coach could answer that question.
Presley has a good perception of the field. She's good at seeing a good field view. I've used her in the center mid position several times, actually, and mentioned it to her. And we've had conversations about, when she could play there. And honestly, she's very honest about when she wants to. She does have a good field view, a good vision, and good at connecting dots.
Right.
It's appreciated to have a player who will be able to see your wing, your centers, and everybody available for positions, or making those tactical shots on goal.
So you have to have a lot of trust in your center position.
Absolutely.
Is it the quarterback of the position? I mean, is it kind of overseeing most of the action?
Well, the thing is, I have a hard time saying that is the one player that you're really relying the whole game on. You've got 11 girls out on the field, and it takes one girl out of position to mess up the entire formation. So it's a combined, coordinated effort. Although you do need a tactical person there just as much as you need that center defender back there that's keeping all those aggressive attacks coming in.
I learned something.
Presley, I think that was a very good answer to Tim's question right there. And I also feel that you're sort of lobbying the coach to say, I'm a wing player. Is that what you're doing? Why, you've got him right here in a environment, a neutral environment, not on the practice field.
Well, I mean, if we're going to go down that note, I would say I would rather be at forward. But I am just as content at wing.
We better stop.
Yeah, but she's going to be all over the field. But anyway, I really like the answer to the question too, because Tim stole my question right there. I was going to ask who put the schedule together, because it is an aggressive schedule when you start playing up in the 3As and stuff like that. It's a very aggressive schedule, and I think that's the way you build your team, slowly and surely.
Well, I've always told the kids that you don't learn much from a win. You learn how to pat yourself on the back, and it feels good. But it's really at the losses that you step up and you go, well, where can we improve? Where can we get better? What are the gaps that we need to fill? And these girls have looked at, that Sevier County game was a great game. It ended in a tie, but it left us walking away from the field going, what can we improve on? How could we have made this an advantage game? So we're doing a lot of that. We want to check into that. We definitely want to build from every game that we play.
Right.
So talking about the schedule, let's look at this. You started off with Sevier County, big school. Then you played Carnes, big school. This week you're going to play AC, not as big as Carnes and Sevier County, but a big school, bigger than you. And then you're going to play at Cumberland County on Thursday again, big school. And now finally next week you're going to get into district play, and I imagine you're going to be more than ready for that next Tuesday when you go to Rockwood.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Again, the big schools are a nice challenge, and I look forward to those. But yeah, I want to see our district play a little bit. I want to see these girls performing on the level that is our district, but I want to see us growing above that level. And so those are all important games.
All right, so Presley, when Coach Henry and Bella were on here just a minute ago, we talked about the Scott High shootout win over Union County, and I said I hate that non-district soccer games end in a tie. Your coach just talked about the game at Sevier County, and it ended in a tie. Can we get a movement started right here, right now, because TSSAA is watching, right? I mean, they're all watching this show. Can we get a movement started right here that we need to do away with a tie in non-district games?
Yes.
Will you advocate for that with me?
Yes, sir, I will.
You on board?
I believe that would work out much better.
Okay. All right. See, Eric Henry was non-committal. So I'm just saying. All right. Well, guys, good luck tomorrow night at Anderson County. I know that's not a district game, but it's always on the schedule. Seems almost like a rivalry game. I would anticipate nothing less than a very exciting game tomorrow night. So good luck to you guys.
Thanks for having us.
All right, we'll take another break. When we come back, we'll flip back to football and talk to our scholar athletes right after this. Welcome back to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network, our first episode of season number 3. We are live from the C. Michael Lay Technology Center in Helenwood. He's Tim Smith. He's Rick Keaton. I'm Ben Garrett. And joining us now are Oneida senior quarterback. Yeah, welcome back to you. Sky High junior lineman Caleb Bell and Oneida senior quarterback Gabe Brennan. And the reason I had to take a break is because I almost called him Nate Brennan.
Of course.
And I was prepared not to do that, and I almost did it. Sorry. My brain goes dead a lot.
Look,
Gabe Brennan,
I
Caleb
knew who
Bell.
it was.
Anyway, thank you guys for joining us. Our very first, Tim and Rick, our very first
This is a great idea.
Scholar athletes. I think that was Tim's doing, getting that together. But you guys were
I think it was
the first,
Stan, honestly.
Well, whoever
it was the Stan's
props to
program
'em.
suggestion. I agree. It's a good idea.
Yeah, so Tim, I'll let you take off.
I get first question. We're
You get
gonna
the first one, yeah.
alternate questions here. So, Gabe, I wrote a few things down. First question I want to ask you, as the scholar athlete, what is your favorite subject?
Math.
Why is that?
I'm good at it.
That's a good answer.
I'll ask Caleb the same thing. What's your favorite subject?
I don't really have one, but I'd say I'm better at reading.
At reading?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the next
is like rapid fire.
So I used to be a teacher, so I
For
always like
scholars.
to hear these questions. Can you tell us an elementary school teacher, a middle school teacher, and a high school teacher that had an impact, helped you enjoy school?
Paige Ellis in elementary school.
Okay.
And then Morgan Uze in middle school.
Okay.
And then Miss Jeffers in high school.
What subjects did they teach? All math? Well, elementary
I
school,
think
probably
English,
everything, right?
English for Miss Kazay,
Okay.
and then math and for both of them.
Okay. All right.
Caleb, where do you see your career path going? Are you going to concentrate on the academic side of it, or are you going to do something else in the trades, perhaps?
I'm probably going to go and be a diesel mechanic.
Uh-huh.
I find that really interesting.
Have you had any experience in that?
I've got the class right now up in Oneida.
Okay. Cool. Interesting.
No, that's a great answer.
Yeah, that's a great answer.
As a TCAT guy,
He's a TCAT guy.
that's the perfect
so,
answer.
Yeah.
100%. But now, Gabe, I'm going to ask you post-secondary. What are your plans after this year? It doesn't. You're not locked in. You can change, right? Okay, everybody changes. But what are you thinking you want to do?
Go to college and probably be an engineer.
Any particular college?
Aerospace. Oh, wait, sorry.
No, that's all right.
Aerospace.
Like Josh Dobbs, right?
Yeah, like UTK or Alabama, Florida State.
Okay. Any of those four?
I didn't hear Notre Dame mentioned.
Is there one?
Well, I'm not smart enough for that. I wish I was, though.
Hang on. I went to UT. I don't know how to take that. I'll just let that sink in a minute. So, do one of those lead? Is there one that's like the lead right now, or does it matter?
They're all equal.
So you could go to UT and cheer for UT at UT games, or you could go to Alabama and cheer for Alabama at Alabama games. I'm going to have to wrap my mind around that one too. Rick, you go ahead.
Caleb, as you're looking through to get out of school, what friends are in the same path that you're in?
I've got a couple,
Yeah.
but there's not many that's doing the same thing I'm going to do. There's a lot of kids from Oneida there, but there's not many. There's like 2.
What was the influence for you to do this? Just something you wanted to do, or do you have like a parent, a relative, brother, something like that you wanted to emulate a little bit what they were doing?
No, I started watching videos, and I started to find it really interesting, and I just took the class, and I got accepted to it, and now I'm learning how to do it.
It's good to know I got a diesel tractor I may need you to work on in a few years.
High demand occupation.
Yes.
I can tell you that for sure. Okay, Gabe, that as a scholar athlete, I'm sure you do a lot of studying, but there's a lot of things that compete for your time. What is something that sometimes keeps you from hitting the books like you should? And I've got some choices. Are there any video games? Is there any music? Is there any books that you might read? I mean, some people are readers. That's not necessarily where I used to be. But what's the things that distract you or just sleeping in? What keeps you from hitting the books like you should?
Probably a girlfriend.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa. Throwing her under the bus.
You going to call her out right here? Just go ahead and give her a shout out.
It's Lexi Butcham over there.
All right. Lexi. Kind of a compliment, right? So no video games, anything like that?
Yeah, I'll play video games.
What video games you play?
NCAA, pretty much everything.
So when you play NCAA, what's the team you roll with?
Notre Dame.
Okay.
What do you do in your off time? Football is a big commitment. We all know that. Gabe knows that. Workouts, weight room, practice field, being on time for class stuff. What do you like to do in your spare time?
It's video games all the way. I'm always on the video game.
Apparently, I'm missing something in this video game.
Well, which
world.
one? Which one?
Yeah.
College football.
College football. That's the new one. I had an idea for something, later in the season. Maybe we have some competitive college football games.
I think we should.
We play.
Yeah. So who's your team on college football?
Tennessee.
Okay. Good.
Yep.
Good. So if Caleb Bell has got Tennessee and Gabe Brennan has got Notre Dame, head-to-head match, what are you thinking?
I ain't very good at the game. I play it, but I ain't good at it.
Well, I'm in the same boat you are.
I haven't got to play it yet. Back in the old days, we used to play it quite a bit. But so I'm going to ask you this, Gabe, if you could give advice to some of your friends that would up their level, get them up here to be a scholar athlete, what's a tip you could give to them? Is it being on time? What is it?
Just go and listen.
Just be there. Just attend. Attendance is, if you don't attend, that's where it all starts, right?
Exactly.
There's 10 work ethics I'm aware of, and attendance is number one. That's a great answer.
Caleb, we've been doing this for 3 years. You're the first, and Gabe is the first scholar athlete that we've recognized on the round table. Will you go back now and walk into class tomorrow, tell the kids, hey, you know what I did last night? And remind them that you won't do that at all?
No.
Not proud of the accomplishment to be
No, I barely pay attention in school. I don't know how I got here.
Hey, at least he's honest.
Well, we're glad you're here, okay?
I'm just blessed with some good teachers.
There you go.
Who take their time to help me.
I'm going to ask. So I got a question for Gabe, but since I got a question for him, I'll ask you a question too. Now, these guys said no football questions coming in, but Gabe's going to be here later tonight to talk football, just in case we don't see you again this season. Although I got a feeling we're going to. Tell me about Friday night. What did you learn from Friday night, and what do you want your team to build on going forward?
We've got to have a different mentality this week. It's got to be completely different. We got to step up and not do the same, have the same mistakes we had last week. We shot ourselves in the foot the whole way. We just got to step up.
How are you? What are you feeling going into Eagleton? You've seen film on them by now. How do you feel about that game Thursday night?
They've got some good players. They've got a good quarterback. He's real smart. They got a good running back and a good D tackle, and their left tackle, I think, is what he is. He's big. Mm-hmm. He's just. They've got a good team. I think it's going to be a good game.
Good. So, Gabe, what I want to ask you about, this is not academic, but it kind of is because it's a community service project. You have started a group called, I think the name of it is Trash Talkers, which is very impressive, by the way. I got to say that you have taken the initiative as an 18-year-old, 17-year-old, even whatever. I don't know. Are you 18?
17.
17-year-old taking the initiative to start an organization. Tim, have you heard of this?
No, I had no idea about this.
So you got to pay attention on Facebook.
Okay.
So, Gabe, since Tim hadn't heard of it and Rick hadn't heard of it,
tell us about it.
We basically just pick up trash. I mean,
and what inspired you to do that?
I don't know. It's got a pretty dirty county.
You're right. So this past weekend, I think you guys hit O&W Road.
Mm-hmm.
How many bags of trash did you pick up?
I think it was like 16 or something, 20 maybe.
Okay. So how many people are involved in your effort so far?
Just anybody I can get.
How many did you have Sunday?
Like 8, I think, 8 or 9. 10.
So this is not just open to kids from Oneida High School. You'll take volunteers from Scott High School too, right? And anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So tell people how they can get involved and help you guys out.
On Facebook, just look up Trash Talkers.
All right, Trash Talkers. All right, good deal. Gabe Brennan, Caleb Bell, our very first Scholar Athletes presented by Stan. Thank you guys for joining us. Good luck to you on Friday night. We are halfway through. We'll start the second half when we come back after this. Welcome back to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network as we begin hour number 2. And as we begin hour number 2, let me thank our sponsors who are helping us to bring you the Roundtable, and those include Little's Drugs and Fountain, Twin K Construction, South Fork Physical Therapy, El Rey, Razak's, Lumber King, Danny's Drugs, TNT Car Wash, Tommy's Motorsports, Scenic Foods, Mountain People's Health Councils, and First National Bank. And as we begin the second hour, we're going to flip to our lineman of the game, presented by Trophy Masters. Cam Cash was our lineman of the game from Oneida. And from Scott High, our lineman of the game was Hunter Lawson. Now, we just found out during the break that Hunter couldn't be here. He's having to work tonight. So, unfortunately, hopefully we'll get him on later in the season. So we just told Caleb to sit back down because we didn't get to talk football with you a minute ago much. So we'll talk football, and plus Tim didn't have enough questions for Cam to fill an entire segment. So we'll put Rick to work a little bit here too. Well, let me start off by flipping over here to your side of the table, Tim. And Cam moved positions this year, switched to center. I don't know, first time you've played that?
Sir.
So, I talked to your dad at the fair last week, and he said, he's switching positions. I guess we're going to find out Friday night how it goes. And here he sits as the lineman of the week. So I guess the transition went okay.
It went very well, and so well now he's switching again.
Okay, well, so that's news to me.
Because there's a need. Well, in the game Friday night, Jackson Cross was injured. It was, I believe, third quarter.
Yeah, fourth, third.
Fourth quarter. Okay, fourth quarter. So, and Jackson, we don't know if he's going to be able to return to action yet, right?
We don't know yet.
Yeah. So he had taken at left tackle. You'd moved over to center.
Yep.
And like Ben said, it did go very well on Friday night. What was the biggest adjustment going from left tackle going into center? And what day did you find out you were going to be center?
That Monday.
That Monday. So you at least had 4 days to work on it, right? So how did you feel about the transition? How do you feel it went?
I was comfortable.
Yeah.
I snapped sometimes.
I don't remember. Was there maybe one snap that was a little shaky? Other than that, everything's pretty good.
You have to ask Gabe. I ain't real sure.
Well,
I don't.
Yeah. Oh, you think he'll tell us the truth?
Well, he gave a thumbs up, so that's pretty good.
Okay, yeah, that's good. So things went well against Rockwood. You were able to protect those guys pretty good. I mean, when you got a couple of quarterbacks going 11 of 11, that means there was some good protection there for what was going on. The run game maybe wasn't exactly where you want it, especially in short yardage situations. What do you feel like is the biggest challenge of that short yardage situation that you all aren't able to meet?
We just got to stay low. We're not really staying low.
Okay.
Just got to work on that.
All right. And you did later on in the game, late in the game, you guys were able to do that. So, and you played defensive line as well. What do you have a favorite? Which side?
Defense.
Why is that?
I like hitting people.
Okay. All right. So on the line, a lot of times you hear Mark will say things like big uglies and things like that. That's hurtful. Kind of. Mark can be a mean guy, but I mean, when you're playing on the line, things happen that people don't see. I mean, even though we've got cameras rolling and you're watching it on TV, once that line comes together, there's things that happen in there. What's the dirtiest thing somebody's done to you on the line? Can you tell us?
I probably can't say it on TV.
Oh well. Okay. What's the
punches.
dirtiest thing you can tell us on TV?
Probably some punches being thrown.
Punches thrown?
Yeah.
Okay. To sensitive?
Yeah.
Yeah. What, has anybody ever thrown dirt on you? Thrown dirt in your eye?
No, they know better.
Okay. Oh, really? Because what would happen if they did that?
Nah, I don't know. Probably nothing.
His reputation just precedes him.
Yeah. I mean, I heard of that. I heard Mark talk about probably doing that maybe. I don't know. But anyway, the line – you talk about tough. I know you guys were talking about how soccer players were tough and football players are tough. Toughness. Is there a tougher place than the line in your opinion?
I don't know. Maybe running back.
Okay.
Listen, there's no doubt football's a tougher sport than soccer.
Well, I'm going to pitch in an old coach, and not to mention any names, but his first name is Vince. Used to say, being a lineman is tough. It's tough because look, I'm carrying 250, 275, 300 pounds around. Try to go out and go through practice like that. So, is being a lineman very tough because of the extra weight you have to carry and everything like that, Caleb? Does that bother you? Do you even think about that when you get near the end of practice every day?
I don't know if it's that or if I'm just tired from running. It gets a little. We get tired towards the end of practice. Practice starts looking a little bad. Billy will always lock us back in when we fix stuff.
Coach Hall does a lot of conditioning to begin practice, right? As opposed to running after practice and stuff like that. You do most of your conditioning earlier. Thinking back to Friday night, I'm sure everybody was probably determined on the bus ride down. what was the bus ride back after the game the other night where it seemed like no matter how hard we tried, nothing worked. No matter how hard we tried, bad things kept happening.
I didn't ride the bus back, but I could imagine it was just it was quiet the whole way back. I'm sure nobody probably said a word. Billy was probably watching film the whole way back. It was probably bad.
When you went into practice, by the way, Highlanders practiced last night because of the Thursday night game. It's early in the season. If it had been late in the season, they wouldn't have done that. But when you first saw the coaches last night and again today, what constructive criticism have they given to the team as a whole and to certain groups as a whole, Caleb?
Everybody was being lazy. It wasn't just one position group. There was position groups that were worse than others, but everybody was lazy.
Mm-hmm. Did you get to play any on defense the other night?
Yes.
Yes. So you had wild man Mason Akers lined up next to you, right?
Yeah.
Does he bring a lot of energy? Who else brings energy to the defensive side of the ball?
Mason and Desmond. Desmond will fire you up real fast.
I think he's like that throughout the course of practice, isn't he? I mean, my perception is Desmond will walk around in practice trying to pick a fight with somebody. He's just that. He's so intense at practice.
Yeah. He's just trying to get everybody hot back up. People will start getting down in the middle of practice because it's hot. He'll just get everybody hot right back up. It'll be fine.
This week, as you prepare for Eagleton, what role have the seniors taken on? Have they started becoming now in the second week more vocal, more demanding of your time, your attention, and your correctness to do things right?
I would say so. I know there's some that's definitely locked me back in practice, but we don't have many seniors, so there's not a lot to step back up.
Yeah, there's only 8 or 9 seniors, I think, so, yeah, there's not many. It is a junior-dominated team. I don't want to look ahead to next year, but we've got 9 games left this year. How much more can the seniors grow and the sophomores grow up so that we can be a very productive and certainly a most competitive team on the field?
Everybody's just got to get back in shape, get more in shape. Just stop being lazy.
Stop being lazy. You've mentioned that a couple of times, so that must be a big theme by the coaches this week.
Yes, sir.
Any difference in practice today? I know the last couple of weeks, Coach Hall would go 10, 15 minutes, 10-minute break because of the heat and the weather conditions. Has he changed that any this week? Are you going longer sessions before you get the breaks?
I think we've dropped the 10-minute break. We're right back into it, and I kind of like that because I want to get better because I did not have a good game last week. But
you're self-analyzing yourself? Do you know any other players on the team that's taken a look at themselves and said, "Hey, I didn't do well. I can do better"?
I haven't talked to many about it, but I know that Hunter has said that he needs to be better. But I haven't talked to him about it much.
I asked Coach Hall earlier, starting out first 3 games on the road, and that's just the way the schedule worked out from last year. What do you as a player and you think your teammates, how do y'all feel about 3 straight road games to open the season?
The good thing about being on the road is it feels great to beat somebody on the road because you're beating them in their home territory, but it sucks that we're not going to get to play on our turf until I think it's the
September
13th.
13th,
Yeah.
yes. Well, won't be long. I mean, now that we've started the season, these weeks are just going to clip right on by like that. So won't be long, Caleb.
So, Cam, just a couple more quick questions. One, this week, you were at center this week, and you're going to be moving this week. This coming Friday at Coalfield, you're going to be
left tackle,
which is where you were originally playing through spring practice and everything, protecting the blind side of the quarterback, right? And who's going to be at center?
Cade Chambers.
All right. And so we're not sure about Jackson, the prognosis for him yet. He played a great game, did a good job. So you got 2 quarterbacks that played Friday night, played well. What do you see as the difference between those 2 quarterbacks? Is there something that one does better than the other, or is there a difference in which one's more vocal, or how do you tell them apart?
I don't really know. I don't really pay attention to them.
Okay. Okay. So this Friday night, Coalfield. You've played Coalfield as a senior. This is going to be your 4th time going up against the Yellow Jackets. What's the toughest part about dealing with Coalfield?
They're just everywhere.
Yep.
You never know when. I don't know. They just swarm the ball. It feels like
when they're on defense.
Mm-hmm.
What about when you're on defense? What's the toughest part about stopping them?
They're physical, but they could be matched.
Okay. All right. So feel like you got a game plan going into Friday? Got something y'all are working on to try to take care of the Yellow Jackets?
I hope so.
Okay. And is there a team that you're going to play this year that you feel like is more of a rival than anybody else? I mean, because we're in a new district. It's weird to say that, Polk County's a rival. That was a great game last year, but are they a rival? Is there a team that you've got circled on the schedule that's somebody you want to play? Looking forward to.
I'm just ready to play all of them.
Just ready for the next one. All right, Cam, congratulations. And if it works out, if Mark keeps calling games, we'll see Cam 4 more times this year. He's like a co-host. But I know he's a fan favorite, one of Mark's favorites and team favorite too. So congratulations, Cam.
Cam Cash, our Trophy Masters lineman of the game. And Caleb, thank you for stepping in here and helping us out and filling in for a segment as well. And by the way, let me mention this. Trophy Master sponsors the Lineman of the Game Award, and there will be T-shirts for you guys as the season progresses. I think, Tim, you correct me if I'm wrong, he's going to do it a little different this year, he being Tony Duncan at Trophy Masters, and I think it will feature everybody's picture that was a lineman of the game. Am I saying that right? And so we'll
You're relying on my memory. So
anyway, one way or another, we'll get those at the end of the season. So,
yes.
But thank you guys for joining us. We're going to take another break. When we come back, we'll talk to our First National Bank players of the game from Friday night. Welcome back to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network alongside Tim Smith and Rick Keaton. I'm Ben Garrett. We're joined now by our First National Bank players of the game of the season. And I'm going to introduce Gabe first. Gabe Brennan has been with us already for one segment tonight. And Gabe, I think going into the season, just listening to what people were saying, I think some of your opponents questioned whether Oneida was going to have a weakness at quarterback this season. And you guys step up, you and Brock Ryan combined 11 out of 11. In the first game, you were 6 of 6, 3 touchdowns, fantastic game. And also we've got Sky High's Mason Akers. Mason is a junior. And Mason, I got it now, Rick would know way better than I would because he's been around Sky High football forever. But I've watched football for a while, and I can't remember a single player having as big an impact on a game as you had Friday night. I mean, you were everywhere out there on defense. So I know the game didn't go the way you wanted it to, but congratulations on a fantastic game Friday night individually, Rick.
Thank you.
It certainly was. I mean, it's a great game. First of all, Mason's got a pretty good motor, and that helps. We start the other night. I don't think we started the other night necessarily in a 50 look, but I think we got to the second quarter, we were playing 50, and then the entire second half we played a 50. You ended up being on the nose. What was that experience like the other night?
Oh, I'll do it again.
That really excited you because you've always told me I'm a linebacker, but you got excited about the nose the other night.
Yeah, he really couldn't do much with me. He was a smaller guy, so we really just picked on him for that. And the only reason I really beat him is because I went 100% every play. If I wouldn't have went 100%, he would beat me.
Well, plus your quickness adds something to that. I guess the most spectacular thing, we also picked a play that you had as our play of the game of the night, which was the fumble recovery and the touchdown. And you were still smoking people at the end of that touchdown score, nobody getting any closer to you than probably 15 yards. Tell us what happened during that play, Mason.
Well, I saw Tyler Atkins, and I saw the snap go way over his head, and Tyler pushed him out of the way, and I just saw the ball, and I saw green grass, and I went.
Was that your first high school touchdown?
Yeah, in varsity, yeah.
In varsity?
I've only played defense, so.
Well, would you like to do that again?
Yeah.
Okay. That's the most important thing is getting another chance to do that. As Caleb just a while ago, what's the mood on the team this week? Everybody knows that, hey, we laid an egg, stunk up the Cumberland County field the other night. What do we do? what are we going to work on to be better this week?
We just got to bring our energy up. We got to be more physical. We got to learn how to hit somebody instead of just trying to arm tackle and let them break tackles.
And protect the football.
Yes, sir.
I'm sure that'd be an emphasis from the coaches the entire week, is protect the football.
Yeah, and we need to get our snaps down.
Ironically, during the game the other night, I thought our snaps were pretty good. We just weren't necessarily handling the snaps. And then there was a couple that went over the head. So probably I jinxed them when I said that, and they started coming back hot and high. So maybe I shouldn't say things like that.
Yeah, quit jinxing.
Yeah, I'll try.
You tell him.
It's somebody needs to tell me. Okay. Who else from Friday night do you think had a good game, and can they continue to duplicate that each and every week?
Tyler, Peyton. Michael had a good game up until he had to leave in the second quarter, which he played really good up until then.
What about the injury situation this week? Anybody still banged up from Friday night?
No.
Everybody be ready come Thursday. Good to know. Good to know. Because it's different to walk on the field and see 50, 52, 54, 56 kids, and to know that if you need a break or there's somebody during practice that's pushing you to be a better player, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Let me hang on 1 second. 1 second. Sorry, Tim.
No, we're
Let
good.
me ask you, Mason, before we switch over here to Gabe. There was speaking of injuries, there was a situation there I think it was in the third quarter where you got a little bit shaken up too, and you were okay, but you limped off there at one point. Did you get chop blocked on that play?
Yeah, I was chop blocked all game. They still couldn't stop it.
Okay. Well, I was going to ask if that motivated you, because when you came back in, you seemed even angrier.
Yeah, I don't like getting chop blocked.
He was going to be a lot quicker and not let that guy get to him was the difference, I think.
All right. Sorry, Tim. Carry on.
No, that's okay. Of course, I didn't get to watch your all's game live on Friday night. I was busy. But I got up Saturday morning, and Ben can attest. I'm sitting there watching the replay, and I got through the first quarter and some into the second quarter, and I texted Ben, and I said, who is 21? And because of the way you were handling things out there. It was very impressive. Your motor, your excitement. I think that I didn't know at the time that you all had selected him as player of the game, but well worthy of that. You did a great job. I mean, it just from the beginning, it was you tried to set a tone. I thought you did a good job.
Thank you.
Gabe, all right, so your second go-around here. First thing I'm going to ask you about is splitting time at quarterback, you and Brock. What's that relationship like?
Man, I like it. You get a break. I like it. Bounce ideas off each other.
Yeah, pretty amicable. Y'all knew what it was going to be going in. This is your final year. You're the senior, Brock's the junior. What's something you feel like you do well that you can teach him?
Just know the offense, know what everybody does, because sometimes people don't know what they're doing. What's
something that when you watch Brock, you think, man, I wish I did a better job of that like Brock does?
Probably his big arm.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's a good answer. Now I'm going to ask you, last year you said you were on the show last year because you came in at Wartburg. Oneida fell back 12-0 against the Bulldogs. We're at home. I mean, this is a region game, and Caden Rector gets hurt. And, I mean, that's a pretty rough-looking situation. And you come in, and you march them right down the field, and you score, and you get us back within striking distance there at halftime. Of course, Caden comes back out second half, and the Indians get that win. How much did that do for your confidence going into this year? What in that moment? I mean, I'm sure you always thought you could do it, but you found out you really could do it. Is there anything from that you took?
Just the whole experience. Like, I don't know. I feel like it prepared me for this year.
Yeah. Both of you guys seem so calm in the pocket. Is that just you trust your line, or what is? That's what it is? Okay. So now, what receiver comes back to the huddle every time and says, I was open, just is the one that expects you to find him first? Is he in this room?
Yeah, he don't really play on Fridays, but it's Ruger West over there.
Is it Ruger?
Yeah.
Okay. What about of the guys that are in on Fridays more? Who's the one that you got to get the ball to, or you're going to be hearing about it?
Not really anybody.
Okay. Well, that's a good diplomatic answer. I mean, you did spread the ball around pretty good, and most importantly came away with the win, got the 3 touchdowns. Talk about this first year Grady coming in and playing. I mean, on that first touchdown, he did a nice job kind of boxing out his defender and getting in for the score. What kind of a dimension has he added?
You just throw it up to him.
Yeah.
Comes down with a lot.
All right. If you hadn't been selected player of the game, who would you have selected as player of the game?
Probably either Grady or Levi.
Grady or Levi. All right. So those are good answers. And Coach May, we don't see him get upset a lot so that you can see it from the other sideline. But Friday night, man, we saw it. He claims he was just taking his headset off and his hat. It looked like it was slung to the ground. But what caused that?
The tight end didn't know what he was doing.
Okay, we don't have to give his name, but yeah, we won't do that. But so you think that's probably fixed?
Mm-hmm.
Coach may get mad a lot.
At me and Brock.
Is that so? So normally, if the hat's going to hit the ground, it's because of who?
The quarterbacks.
Because of the quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. All right. And so him being a former quarterback, though, he talks the language, right? I mean, he knows, but he has those high expectations. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let me ask you this. You said earlier we were talking about video games, and you were saying who you played with. So do you have a favorite college team? Is it Notre Dame?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it is. So that's not going to play into your selection. Do you have a favorite NFL team?
The Packers.
Green Bay. Why is that?
Their initials are GB, and that's my initials, and green's my favorite color. So when I was young, that's how I picked them.
That is a great there's always a good story there. I mean, Green Bay. All right. So what kind of year do you think they're going to have?
I think they'll be good.
All right. On the team, who is the vocal leader on this team?
Probably Levi.
Levi. Okay. Who is the leader by example, the person that puts in the work, and if everybody worked as hard as this person, we're going to be fine this year?
Jesse Zachary.
Jesse Zachary. All right. That's a great answer. And Nate, thank you for joining us twice here tonight. Congratulations on the First National Bank Player of the Game.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm sitting here trying to think of BG, who has I guess until Bowling Green gets an NFL team, I'm just going to continue to be an NFL orphan. Yeah, so anyway. All right, I got one question for each of you, and I'm going to start with you, Gabe. Now, your dad is Dr. Nate Brennan, foot doctor in town, and he's a good foot doctor, by the way. He's worked on my foot, does a great job. He's also on our picks panel. He's not very good at that, but we won't hold that over him. Your dad. Now, I'm not telling this story. I told this story last year when you were on, and I think I told it 2 years ago when Lexi was on. Nate, I'm not telling this story for any other reason other than I got a point to make. Your dad was recruited by Butch Jones, and that doesn't mean near as much now that Butch is at Arkansas State or wherever he's at. But he was. My question is, do you think your dad ever had a game where he went 6 of 6 and threw 3 touchdowns in his life ever?
Nope.
What do you think his best game was?
Well, he played receiver in high school.
Oh, he wasn't a quarterback. Oh, my
That'd
bad.
be hard
okay.
to do.
Well, it would be.
Well, he caught 6 passes one time, total 150 yards. You don't remember that?
I don't remember that.
No.
Nate's older than I am. So,
Okay.
Mason, I don't know if I should ask this or not, because anybody knows me know I'm kind of snarky and I like to joke around. I don't know Micah Bowles that well, although I was complimenting him at the first of the game. I thought he did a really great job from his safety position, made some nice plays. But I know his dad, Darryl, and I would ask Darryl this question. So I'm going to ask you, after you returned that fumble for a touchdown, did you go back to the sideline and say, Micah, that's the way you do it?
No, I wasn't gonna give him a hard time back. 'Cause everybody's already been giving a hard time about it. Today at school, I haven't been second period, so I was giving him crap all practice, and then.
Sorry, Micah, I didn't mean to pile on.
He slung a touchdown, though, didn't he?
He did. Yeah.
Micah
I
did,
thought so.
yes.
Yeah, so you both had a touchdown. Yeah, all right. Mason Akers and Gabe Brennan, thank you guys for joining us. We're going to take one more break, and we'll be back for our final segment right after this. Welcome back to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network. Our final segment, Tim Smith. Before we get into this segment, I have to apologize to one of our sponsors, First National Bank. They are presenting our players of the game with shirts, not only T-shirts but also hoodies. And I was supposed to give those out while we were on the air. I got carried away and went into a break, and so I apologize to First National Bank. They did. Mason and Gabe got their swag from First National Bank, so we want First National Bank to know that
Show the hoodie,
we appreciate them. Yeah,
that's
so
really
let's
nice.
show the hoodie as well. It is a nice hoodie, and it's all the way down on the bottom.
Yep.
So let me reach for it. And that's the hoodie. I have one of those, by the way, along with the shirt. They're nice. So thank you to First
Greg,
National
do you
Bank.
have one of those? I don't have one of those. Do you, Greg? No, we don't have one of those.
I got the
Do
T-shirt.
you?
I got the T-shirt.
Well, as
Well,
long as you do, Rick.
guys
we're
go ahead
okay.
and
Well,
jealous.
plus I got a couple of caps too. You don't have caps.
So
I gave you a cap.
I do have a cap.
You do have a cap.
That's nice. All right, we're joined by cheerleaders. Well, this has been a tradition for the last couple of years. We wrap things up by bringing on a cheerleader and feature them every week. And we're not only featuring cheerleaders, they also help us pick the winners of the next Friday night's game because they're better at it than you guys are. No offense to you old guys.
That's correct.
But we have got a couple of seniors with us. We got from Oneida, Lexi Butterman, from Scott High, Leslie Boatwright. And thank you both for joining us, first of all. And Lexi, I should ask you, Gabe has been on half the show tonight. Should he have been back up here again for this segment as well, you think?
Yeah, he should have.
So if he were picking with you, who do you think would have the better record?
Him.
You think?
100%.
Okay. Well, he didn't get a chance to find out. So let's you guys have both been on here before, but this is the first time you guys have been on here as seniors. And I've been watching both of you cheer since you were at Birchfield, and Leslie, you were at Huntsville, and here you are, your seniors. Can you believe we got to this point this quickly?
No.
So your senior year, I mean, I know at this point you're probably you're just letting soaking everything in and trying to enjoy this. What's it like, knowing this is your final year? And, of course, you're just getting started. There's a long ways to go yet. But is it different? Do you approach it differently?
Yeah, it's crazy. I still feel like a freshman, honestly. Like, I don't know.
How about it, Lexi?
Yeah, it's definitely different. I like it, though. It's sad.
All right, so and I think I've probably asked you both this question before, but if you're football or basketball, do you have a preference, one over the other? Definitely football. Yeah.
I like basketball more.
Really? I feel like that's a unique position. I think most cheerleaders probably say football. So I want to ask you what it is about football in just a second, but what is it about basketball?
Well, I like doing halftime dances for basketball.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, Lexi, what is it about football that makes football better?
I don't know. One, I understand it better than basketball, but it's just a different atmosphere. Everyone's more involved.
Okay. So what is it like for you on the sideline at football games? You got Gabe out there playing quarterback. Now, he did okay Friday night, and, there wasn't much to critique there. But do you get angry? Do you get upset? Do you get if he makes a bad pass? What's that like? Do you even see it, or are you turning around looking at the crowd?
Most of the time I'm turned around looking at the crowd, but I wouldn't say I get angry, but.
Do you tell him after the game what he needs to work on and do better?
No.
No?
I do not.
Does he tell you what you need to work on and do better as a cheerleader?
No.
Okay, that's smart on his part then.
Can I ask, what are your plans after your senior year? Where are you going next year? Have you decided yet what you're going to do, what you're going to major in, anything like that?
I think I'm going to major in business, but I haven't decided on a college yet.
Don't know where? Okay.
I want to go to UT for nursing.
Oh, awesome. We need nurses for sure.
Indeed.
Okay.
So as seniors, and Leslie, I'll start with you. As seniors, you guys are kind of cheerleading is just like any other sport. Someone has to step up and take on the ownership role, and that usually falls on the seniors. Are you that senior at Scott High?
Well, it's mainly all the seniors together. We all decide the stuff together.
Okay. How many do you have on your cheer squad this year?
I think like 7. I don't know. I know it's over 5. We have a lot of seniors.
7 seniors?
Yeah.
How many total cheerleaders are there?
Oh, I think like 15 or 16.
Okay. So that you're almost as big as the soccer team. I'm just saying, that's a lot of girls.
Yeah.
How about for you guys at Oneida?
We have 18 cheerleaders, and there's 8 of us are seniors, and we all work as a team.
Okay. All right. Good deal, guys. You asked your question. You be quiet for a second, Rick.
I want to ask Leslie this right. Of course, everybody's sort of excited about a new turf field.
Yeah.
And the cheerleaders are actually going to be on that turf this year.
Yeah.
Putting in the turf sort of eliminated where you're going to be. What's the mood? Is everybody excited to be on the turf right in front of the student section?
Yeah, it's actually a lot better because before we had like a little concrete piece and we couldn't do like stunts or tumble or anything on it. So now we'll be able to do that.
So the entire squad's excited about being able to do that.
Yeah, we're really excited.
Well, I think that's great to be able to do that. And it's, I don't know if it's unique at Scott High, but they just got this extra wide space there. That's glad to see it utilized.
And we're going to be on that turf in 2 weeks. Is that right? For this show, are we going to do stunts and tumbles, or what are you thinking?
Well, I may trip and fall.
Yeah, I know I'll do stumbles. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, just curious. Watch for that 2 weeks from tonight.
So I'm not a cheerleader. Obviously, I'm not a cheerleader. Thank God. But so what's it called when you guys build your formations and you got somebody up top? What I mean, just help me out. What's the terminology?
It's a stunt, and the person on top is the flyer.
Okay, the flyer. So that's what have you ever been the flyer? Is that your job?
No, not now, but like when I was little, I was a flyer. But
Is that scary? And I'm asking this because I've always wondered: is that a scary place to be? Because you're you're dependent on the girls underneath you, right?
Why do you think they call it flyer?
Well,
I mean,
how about you?
I'm a flyer, and it's sometimes scary.
Have you ever fallen?
Yeah.
Have you ever been injured?
No.
Okay. All right. So, like, I see when Gabe Brennan threw that touchdown pass the other day, my reaction or the reaction that I saw was the Rockwood DB that was trying to cover for his teammate that just got burned all over the field. He turns around and throws his hands up like, what the heck? So if you get dropped, do you turn around to your teammates and say, what the heck?
No.
No? Would you?
Yeah, probably.
You could throw your hat like Coach May.
Maybe next time.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about some games. No, we always have the cheerleaders to help us pick the games because you guys are tuned in. You know who's going to win these games. And let me say that we wanted our pigskin panel reps to be here, which is Jillian Cross from Oneida, Kinley Frog from Scott High. Jillian had her own state class tonight and couldn't be here, and I asked her to skip class. But she's working on Scholar Athlete or something. She wouldn't do it. They're going to join us next Sunday night, by the way, from Oneida City Park. Let me take a moment to mention we will be on location next Sunday night from Oneida City Park, and you already mentioned the Monday after that, 1 week out from there, we will be at Scott High. So we're going to take this show on the road. As much as we like it here at the C. Michael Lake Technology Center, we're leaving the friendly confines for a couple of weeks. It's going to be fun. Anyway, back to this week and where we're at right now and the games that are coming up on Friday night, week 2 of the Tennessee high school football season. Some of these are Thursday night games, Rick. You and I and Tim will all be over at Eagleton on Thursday night, so they're not all Friday night games. But these week 2 games, and let's start out with the teams in Oneida's district, and we'll start out with Oneida. Now, we don't let Rick and Tim pick the local games anymore, but we can put you guys on the spot. So, Lexi.
Oh, goodness.
You were an Oneida cheerleader, and this is your team in action Friday night going down to Coalfield, and Coalfield put up 60 against Wartburg last week. But you know what? Oneida was pretty impressive, too. So, big rivalry game. Tim talked about it earlier. This is one of Oneida's biggest rivals. What are you thinking on Friday night?
Thinking we should win.
Think so?
Mm-hmm.
Now, Leslie, as an unbiased, you're neutral on this. What are you thinking? Oneida or Coalfield?
Oneida.
Think so. Oneida's going to beat Coalfield. So you guys are calling it. Now,
this is the 80th meeting of the two teams. 80 times.
Wow.
That is.
Yep.
That's spectacular.
Wow. Big deal.
Rick's been there for most
it's
of
the
them.
It's the most meetings of Oneida with any football team.
I haven't been there for most of them, but I've been here for most of them.
So. Oneida and Coalfield is always fun. I mean, it is. It's always fun. And it seems like most times it doesn't matter how good one team is or the other. It's a pretty close game on the field. So it should be fun. And Lexi can't pick against Oneida, but Leslie could, and she called it. Oneida's going to take Coalfield on Friday night. I'm not asking your opinion on that because it's a local game. But let's do the Scott High game. Scott High goes to Eagleton on Thursday night. Now, if you guys watched Tim's preseason show, and you didn't, I know you didn't, but if you had have watched, then you would have seen that those guys, Mark Matthews and all those guys, they said Eagleton's going to be tough. And one of your guys said they're going to be –
Of our 10 opponents on the schedule, their consensus was that Eagleton was 3. However, their 10th place team was Tellico Plains, which beat Eagleton Friday.
Yeah,
so that shows you what my crew knows.
Yeah, don't go betting based on that.
So my point is, Leslie, the consensus from this group is that Eagleton is much improved this year. And I think we all would agree. Eagleton is definitely improved from a year ago. Scott High spanked them pretty good last year up at our place. We got to go down to Maryville on Thursday night. What are you thinking? Can Scott High get his first win of the season Thursday night?
I think so, yeah.
What does Scott High have to do to get a win Thursday night?
Not celebrate too early on a touchdown.
I don't feel so bad now. I'm sorry, Micah. That's tough. Wow.
He's gone.
Lexi, how about it? Scott High and Eagleton.
I'll give it to Scott High.
All right, so Scott High's going to get to win.
Took them last year.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, handily.
Just remember, that didn't even finish 3 quarters last year.
Yeah.
And, I mean, don't get carried away by last year's score, and it didn't even finish 3 quarters. I mean, Eagleton's better.
They didn't lose anybody.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, 100% of them.
Their second year of varsity football.
Yeah.
And so, Rick, let me say, we got to get Micah. We got to have Micah as player of the game this week, and so that we can get him on the show next week. We got to give him a chance, and we've dogged him a little bit. We got to. Well, we didn't. Leslie did, and I did a little bit earlier too.
Yeah.
So we got to give him a chance to redeem himself. All right, Let's talk about the other games in the districts this week, and we'll start off in Oneida's district. Bledsoe County could be one of the teams in the running for district championship this year, region championship. They go to the team that Scott High saw last week, and that is Cumberland County. Now, Tim, we're going to start over here with you guys, and I know you like to confide with the Oneida cheerleader.
Well,
to make sure you guys are on the same
if you want to
page.
go first or if you want me to go first, you can choose, Lexi. It's all completely your choice.
You can go.
I'll go first. Okay. Cumberland County, I think, is a really good team. I mean, this was a 4-point game a year ago on a Bledsoe County team that when we played them in Week 10 last year, they were one of the toughest, meanest teams that we saw. And they only got Cumberland County a year ago by 4. But now Bledsoe hadn't lost anything. So I'm going because they're at home, right? No, they're traveling. They're going to Cumberland County too. I'm still going to go Bledsoe County in this one because my preseason thing was I think they're the best team on our schedule. I still do, the Warriors.
That's pretty bold. Did you say that in the preseason show?
No, they chose Coalfield over
did.
Bledsoe.
And you're saying that Bledsoe County is tougher than Coalfield?
Look, I think Bledsoe County is tough. I remember down there it was like no daylight, nothing went right. It seemed like we were never a threat.
It's okay.
To a good team.
Everybody has the right to be wrong. But what do you think about this Friday night, Bledsoe County or Cumberland County?
Well, I was going to go with Bledsoe but I think I'm still going to go with Bledsoe.
Bledsoe County. Well, Tim's building them up. I mean, I'm thinking state championship contenders here, Bledsoe County. Right? If they're better than Coalfield.
I think they can be, and I think they're the best in our district, and I think they'll have to beat Hampton, which they didn't do last year.
Did you see Coalfield put 60 up on Wartburg? Did you watch that game?
You're just trying to get me to say something about Wartburg. Let's move on.
Okay, memory like an elephant. So, Leslie, how about it? Bledsoe County or Cumberland County Friday? What do you think?
Cumberland County.
Okay, you've seen Cumberland County. They're much improved, are they not?
Yeah.
Rick, what do you think?
You know, that'd be a good, toss-up there like that. I think I might lean toward Bledsoe County, even though in your pick'em panel, I went with the home team. I think I picked every home team on the panel there like that. But we helped Cumberland County a lot Friday night. I don't see Bledsoe doing that. And so I think that for Cumberland County to win, they'll just have to smash mouth around on Bledsoe County. But, I sort of like Bledsoe County.
Well, Cumberland County is much improved, but yes, Tim, Bledsoe County is a pretty good football team. So I would agree. Bledsoe County probably in that one. Polk County at Walker Valley. Now, this is one that those of us that are up here on the Cumberland Plateau, Tim, we don't know a whole lot about Walker Valley. We do know a little bit about Polk County, and that's another solid team in that district that Oneida shares. What are we thinking on this side of the table?
They are a solid team, but and they really put it to Copper Basin on Friday night, but Copper Basin's not strong, and this is a game they play so that they don't have to travel too far. Walker Valley's a really good team. It's a bigger school, and Walker Valley will handle this at Walker Valley.
You agree with him?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How about over here? What do we think?
I agree. Walker Valley.
Yeah, Walker Valley.
Yeah.
Walker Valley. Okay. So it's unanimous Walker Valley over Polk County. Wartburg and Harriman. Now, Wartburg's coming off, let's face it, they got embarrassed by Coalfield. And that says way more about Coalfield's strength than it does about Wartburg. I mean, Coalfield's a very good football team. But now they got to turn around, Tim, and play a Harriman team that just picked up is it safe to say one of the
first? Because it's our district.
Then you just sit here and hold on. We'll let Lexi go first.
Well, I mean,
and she can probably help you out anyway. One of the biggest wins, though, for Harriman, at least in a long time, they beat their old rival Kingston the other night in an outcome, Rick. I think we can I can say I didn't see that coming. And maybe you saw it coming.
Actually, I went back and looked it up the last few years, Kingston-Harriman. It's not as lopsided Kingston as what you think. Even Harriman winning 2 or 3 in a row 6, 7, 8 years ago, it's not that lopsided. But if you want me to go first, just based on the fact they beat Kingston, I'd select Harriman without question.
Would you agree with Rick?
Yeah.
Harriman over Wartburg. Okay, now to your side of the table, and now you've saw what they've revealed their hand to you. What do you think?
Absolutely, they're 100% right.
Thank you.
Lexi?
I agree.
Yeah. I think
Wartburg's
so too.
breaking in another new coach. I mean, it's just it's a tough situation.
And Coach James Gibson is a good coach, and it takes some time.
Yeah.
So
it'll take him a while. By the way, is that senior or is that little?
Little.
Okay.
Yeah. So, all right, Sequoia and Tellico Plains. Now, Tim, last year we saw Tellico Plains start off the season with the win over Eagleton, and they thrashed Eagleton. It was a lot closer this year, even though they still got the win. They never got back to that same level after that, even though they had a lot of injuries. Tellico Plains got to win again this year against Eagleton. Is that going to be as ominous a sign as it was last year?
This wasn't in our picks, right?
It was not, no.
Yeah. So, and it's where?
It is at Tellico Plains.
So here's the thing about Tellico Plains. Okay, you know they thrashed Eagleton a year ago, but they only won 3 games. And then Eagleton, we know, is a lot better this year. And I thought Eagleton would win last week, and Tellico Plains beat them. But Tellico Plains last year never had a healthy quarterback throughout the whole year. They were, you know, having to make do, and it looks like they've got that solidified. So Sequoia finally broke that winless streak last year. See, I wasn't prepared for this one.
Then you just hold on. What do you think, Lexi?
Yeah,
Sequoia
I'm going to go with whatever
Tellico
Lexi
Plains?
says. I agree.
I'm going to go Tellico Plains.
Yes.
Okay. What about over here?
100%.
What are we thinking?
I agree with her.
I'll go with Tellico Plains because I think Sequoia's trying to build. Maybe not rebuild, but they're just trying to build
Not
something.
rebuilt yet.
So,
yeah.
So we're unanimous to Tellico Plains over Sequoia. All
Well,
right.
you didn't pick anybody,
And,
so does
I
that
would have
mean-
taken Tellico
Okay.
Plains. Yeah. See, I don't stick my neck out there. If you noticed, I just sit here and act like that I'm.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. So last team from Oneida's district in action Friday night is going to be York Institute. They go over to Knoxville to face Grace Christian. Now, Grace Christian has been a really good team over the last few years, and we don't hear as much about them now because they're Division II. York got beat by Clay County. They're still ranked 10th. I guess you saw the Sports Writers poll today. York is ranked number 9 in the state in 2A. That surprised me since they got beat by Clay County, but Clay County is a very good team.
And has been.
Has been for several years. They have. So what are
And
we
York
thinking?
barely got past them last year, you know, and they went there on this one, right? They were at Clay County in the loss.
Yes, they were, yeah.
Salina. So York is traveling now to Grace Christian, who they beat Grace Christian a year ago, but York doesn't have Lefevue at quarterback anymore. So I think they're trying to sort that out, and I think the Rams of Grace Christian will get them.
What do you think? Is he right or wrong?
I think he's right.
I think he's right. Grace Christian over York. How about over here, Leslie? What are you thinking?
York.
You going to take York? Upset.
I don't think that's a bad pick either.
What do you think,
it could go
Rick?
either way.
If York can control the clock, control the ball, maybe, but Grace Christian is going to throw the ball all over the field, the end zones, the sidelines. New coach, Grace Christian. Remember, his offense, his quarterback at Campbell County last year only threw for like 2,400 yards, who's now playing at Anderson County. But Grace Christian, York cannot defend the level of passing game that they bring at Grace Christian now.
Their quarterback was also their safety.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, moving up to Class 3A, and Rick and Leslie. The first team from Scott High's region that we'll talk about is Union County. They got beat by Gibbs and beat pretty handedly last week. They're at home this week. They take on Claiborne, non-region game. So what do you think, Leslie? Or do you want to let Rick go first? Let's put Rick on the spot. Yeah, Rick, go ahead. Who are you taking, Claiborne or Union County?
Union County.
Union County. You think so?
I think so. I don't know that Claiborne is that strong. I just want to go. I just want to pick the home team this week. I'm on a home team roll, I guess.
Okay. What do you think?
I agree with him.
All right. So Union County over Claiborne. How about the left side of the table?
Patriots, Union County.
You agree with Tim?
I agree.
So we're split. It's 2-2. So I got
What?
Right? You guys said
Union County.
You did?
It's unanimous.
You did?
It's
unanimous.
My bad. Okay,
Man.
so we're unanimous.
Catch
Union
up
County
with
over
the show
Claiborne.
here, man.
Sorry. I'm tuned out. Oliver Springs and Kingston now. Guys, Kingston got a little bit of egg on their face. You know that embarrassed them to lose to Harriman, their rival. And here they're going to be hosting an Oliver Springs team that doesn't beat Kingston very often. Another one of these Roane County rivalries. But Oliver Springs took on the defending state champion and the number 1 ranked team in the state last week in South Pittsburgh, and it wasn't even close. Can Oliver Springs beat Kingston this week, Leslie?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Rick?
Normally I don't go. Kingston's at home, right?
Kingston isn't home, so you pick Kingston.
Yeah, well, like I said, I was on a home team roll there like that. Oliver Springs is a good team. And
apparently so, yeah.
I've talked to some people since Friday night, and they had a nice, impressive performance. So I may go Oliver Springs.
3 touchdowns. They beat
Yeah,
South Pitt by.
that was not a top ball game at all.
No, you don't just walk out and beat South Pitt by 3 touchdowns. So what do you think? Oliver Springs or Kingston?
Oliver Springs.
Oliver Springs. All right, unanimous again. Oliver Springs over Kingston. This is another interesting one, Rick. Alcoa fell Friday night as they were beaten by Ravenwood. 2-possession game there. Bearden got the win over the defending state champion in Knox West last week. Alcoa at Bearden this week. What's your prediction?
I'm going to say Alcoa is going to start the season 0-2 because I'm going to pick Bearden, and it's based on the fact that I think Bearden has the beef, and I think they got the athletes, and it'll be a real challenge for Alcoa if they pick up a road win.
So, Leslie, don't let him dictate all your picks.
No.
Alcoa has won about 1,800 straight state championships.
No, just 9 straight.
Alcoa or Bearden?
I'll pick Alcoa.
You going Alcoa? Okay. How about this side?
I'm going to say Alcoa.
I'm with Rick. I think it's Bearden.
And I didn't sell you on what I said. Bearden just had an impressive.
It was a 4-point game a year ago, and Alcoa was much better.
Yeah.
This is at Bearden.
So the cheerleaders pick Alcoa. The old men pick Bearden. It's a tie.
And they may be right. Good for him.
I'm an old man too, so I got to go with Bearden. I think Bearden will get Alcoa. And the last game, Austin East at Carter. Austin East is coming off a loss last week. Every team in Scott High's district lost last week. William Blunt defeated Austin East 36-12. Austin East at Carter this week. I know who you're picking because Carter's at home out in Strawberry Plains.
Exactly.
So what about you, Leslie?
Carter.
You're going to take Carter over Austin East. How about it, Lexi?
Carter.
Tim, do you make it unanimous?
I do.
All right, so Carter over Austin East, and that could be an interesting game coming up at the end of the season. Scott High and Austin East could be playoffs in the balance when they meet. So
I have a great respect for the new coach at Austin East.
Absolutely.
He will bring that football program around because we always know they've got athletes all over the place, So
they lost their quarterback. I mean,
And don't forget his little brother that was a dynamic performer too. I mean, so he's
at Alcoa now, am I right?
At Alcoa now, that's right. And he's a receiver. So.
All right, so that's just about going to wrap it up for us tonight for this first episode of a new season. Before you guys head out of here, you've had to sit here and talk football for 20 minutes now. So let's give the floor to you to talk cheerleading one more time before you head out of here. Tell me your favorite cheer to do, Leslie, at a Scott High football game or basketball game.
Pow, pow, pow.
Pow, pow, pow.
That's it. By the way, that's his favorite cheer. And I've never heard it. So
that is my favorite cheer. But let me tell you, we were picking – so another new segment we've got this year is our Fan of the Game, which is presented by the mayors, Town of Oneida Mayor Lori Phillips-Jones and Town of Huntsville Mayor Dennis Jeffers. Friday night we had someone in mind who we thought was going to be the Fan of the Game, and then we got a clip towards the end of the game of a cheerleading daddy in the stands. Mike Carroll, by the way. Now, how about it? Do your parents stand up and do the cheers with you?
No, but I always see Mike doing pow, pow, pow.
Oh, he was. He was standing up. He was pow, pow, pow. It was great. So you had to be the fan of the game. Yeah, absolutely. All right, Alexi, what's your favorite cheer to do?
O-N-E.
O-N-E. So those are the signature cheers. O-N-E for Oneida, pow, pow, pow for Scott High. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your senior season. Thank you for joining us here tonight on the Roundtable. We'll be back on Thursday night at 6:15 from Maryville as Scott High faces Eagleton on the road, and then on Friday we'll be live at 6:30, or at 6 actually, from Coalfield as Oneida gets set to take on the Yellow Jackets in that big rivalry game down in southern Morgan County. Thank you for joining us tonight. We hope to see you Thursday and Friday. Thank you also to Greg Bond. Thank you to Leetta Boyett. Thank you to everybody who has helped make this possible. We'll see you next week.